My wife humiliated me at the airport after I spent months saving for her dream trip to Paris. Hey Reddit, so I'm Ethan, 34, and I'm pretty sure my life is a dumpster fire right now. I'm the middle child, you know the type, always dependable, never quite good enough. My older sister is a lawyer, practically walks on water in my parents' eyes. Me, I'm just, there, my wife Chloe has always been, difficult. But I never thought she'd pull something like this. I mean, who does that? You guys are never going to believe what happened next. We were at the gate, boarding passes in hand, ready for our flight to Paris. I'd spent months meticulously planning this trip. It was Chloe's dream, always talking about the Louvre and the Eiffel Tower. I'd scrimped and saved, cut back on everything, even sold my vintage Star Wars collection, ripped my childhood to make this happen. I was so excited to see her face, to share this experience with her. And then, it happened. As we stepped up to the flight attendant, Chloe loudly declared, "We can't afford this. My husband made a terrible mistake. Can I please be seated away from him?" My stomach dropped. It felt like someone had punched me in the gut. I could feel my face burning, turning a shade of red I didn't know existed. The flight attendant, this poor woman, looked completely bewildered. Other passengers were staring, whispering. I wanted to disappear, to melt into the floor. "Chloe, what are you talking about?" I whispered, trying to keep my voice steady, even though I felt like I was going to throw up. "Don't Chloe me," she hissed. "This trip is ridiculous. We're going to be in debt for months because of your stupid fantasy." I tried to explain, to tell her about the savings, the budget, the sacrifices, but she just rolled her eyes, this condescending, dismissive look that made my blood boil. "Oh, Ethan, you're so naive," she said, loud enough for everyone around us to hear. "You never think things through." My heart was pounding in my chest. I felt this wave of shame wash over me, this suffocating feeling of being completely and utterly humiliated, and in front of all these strangers. It was like a nightmare, but I couldn't wake up. I just stood there, frozen, as she continued to berate me, this woman I loved, the woman I thought I knew. In that moment, standing there at the gate, with everyone staring, I knew something had fundamentally broken. This wasn't just a fight. This was something else, something much worse. Okay, so the flight was a nightmare. Chloe barely spoke to me, except to occasionally mutter about how irresponsible I was. I spent the entire flight staring out the window, trying to process what the hell had just happened. My dream trip had turned into a living hell. We finally arrived in Paris, jet-lagged and emotionally exhausted. I tried to make the best of it, suggesting we grab a coffee and go see the Eiffel Tower, but Chloe just shot me down. "No," she snapped. "I'm tired, and I'm not wasting money on overpriced tourist traps." Overpriced tourist traps, the EIFFEL Tower. I'd sold my freakin' Star Wars collection for this. The next day I called my parents, hoping for some kind of support, some understanding. Big mistake. "Ethan," my mom said, her voice tight with disapproval, "Chloe's just being practical. You need to be more responsible with your finances." My dad chimed in, "Your sister would never do something like this. She's always been so level-headed." Of course, my sister, the golden child. I should have known better than to expect any sympathy from them. They always took Chloe's side, no matter what. Later that evening, we were back in the hotel room, the tension thick enough to cut with a knife. I decided to try again, to talk to Chloe, to understand why she'd done what she did. "Chloe," I started, my voice shaking slightly, "can we please talk about what happened at the airport? I'm still really hurt and confused." She scoffed. "Oh, here we go again. You're always playing the victim, Ethan. I was just trying to be realistic. We can't afford these kinds of extravagant trips." "Extravagant," I repeated, my voice rising. "I saved for months. I sacrificed so much to make this happen for you." "Well, maybe you should have thought about that before you booked the damn trip," she retorted, her eyes blazing. "You never consider the consequences of your actions. You're always so impulsive and childish." Childish? Impulsive? I'd planned this trip down to the last detail. I'd created spreadsheets and budgets, researched every possible expense. And she was calling me childish. That's when my brother, Ben, called. He could hear the tension in my voice and asked what was wrong. I broke down, telling him everything. He listened patiently, then said something that completely changed my perspective. "Ethan," he said quietly, "this isn't normal. This isn't how a healthy relationship works. Chloe's behavior is manipulative and controlling." Hearing him say that, someone finally acknowledging my feelings, it was like a dam broke inside me. The anger, the hurt, the confusion, it all came pouring out. I started to cry, these huge, heaving sobs. And then Chloe snatched the phone from my hand. Ben, stay out of this, she yelled. You don't know what you're talking about. Ethan is just being dramatic as usual. He's trying to turn everyone against me. Dramatic, turning everyone against her. I was literally just talking to my brother. That's when it hit me. This wasn't just a fight. This wasn't just Chloe being difficult. This was toxic. This was insane. And my family was enabling it. They were gaslighting me, making me question my own sanity. I hung up the phone, feeling utterly defeated. Sitting there in that sterile hotel room, thousands of miles from home, I felt more alone than I ever had in my life. This trip, this dream, had become a symbol of everything wrong in my marriage, in my family. And I knew, deep down, that things were never going to be the same. A week later, and things have gone from dumpster fire to full-blown nuclear meltdown. I'm back home now, and the fallout from Paris has been catastrophic. Chloe has doubled down on the Ethans having a breakdown narrative. She's called my parents, my sister, aunts, uncles, even my grandmother, painting me as some kind of financially irresponsible lunatic. I'm getting calls from relatives I haven't spoken to in years, all offering their support and concern. It's infuriating. My mom called this morning, her voice dripping with concern. Ethan, honey, are you okay? Chloe said you've been acting erratically. She's worried about you. Erratically? I booked a trip to Paris. What is erratic about that? Mom, I said, trying to keep my voice calm, Chloe is twisting things. She's the one who humiliated me at the airport, remember? Oh, Ethan, she sighed. Chloe said you're exaggerating. She said you just misunderstood her. You know how she gets when she's stressed. Are you kidding me? Misunderstood her. She screamed at me in front of an entire airplane. Then my sister called. Ethan, she said, her voice condescending as always, Chloe told me about your little episode. Maybe you should talk to someone. A therapist, perhaps. It sounds like you're under a lot of stress. A therapist. I need a therapist because my wife is a manipulative, lying. I can't even finish the sentence. I hung up on both of them. I'm done. I'm so done with this gaslighting, this constant undermining of my reality. They're all so quick to believe her, to side with her, without even hearing my side of the story. It's like I'm invisible. My feelings, my experiences, they just don't matter. And Chloe, she's walking around like she's the victim. She's even started posting cryptic messages on social media about toxic relationships and emotional abuse. The audacity. I'm starting to feel like I'm losing my mind. I can't sleep. I can't eat. I can barely function. I'm a shell of my former self, but something shifted in me today. A quiet anger, a steely determination. I'm done being the family punching bag. I'm done letting Chloe control the narrative. I'm done letting my family gaslight me. I need to take action. I need to fight back. I need to protect myself. I don't know what that looks like yet, but I'm going to figure it out. I have to, because if I don't, I'm afraid of what I might become. I'm afraid of losing myself completely. Stay tuned, Reddit. This isn't over, not by a long shot. So last night I finally cracked. I called Ben. I hadn't spoken to him much since the Paris debacle, mostly because I was too ashamed, too embarrassed to admit how badly things had spiraled. But I was at my breaking point. I needed someone, anyone, to understand what I was going through. Hey Ben, I mumbled into the phone, feeling this familiar knot of anxiety tighten in my chest. Can we talk? He picked up right away. Ethan. What's up? You sound awful. And then it all came pouring out. The airport humiliation, Chloe's constant accusations, my family's dismissal, the cryptic social media posts, everything. I didn't hold back. I was so tired of pretending everything was okay, so tired of being the responsible one, the one who always kept it together. As I spoke, I could hear Ben getting quieter and quieter. When I finally finished, there was this long silence. And then he said something that absolutely floored me. Ethan, he said, his voice low and serious, this is abuse, plain and simple, emotional abuse. Abuse. The word hung in the air between us, heavy and charged. I'd never thought of it that way before. I mean, I knew things weren't right, that Chloe's behavior was toxic, but abuse. What do you mean? I stammered, my mind reeling. She's isolating you from your family, manipulating them against you, controlling your finances, gaslighting you into questioning your own sanity, Ben explained, his voice firm. That's textbook emotional abuse, Ethan, textbook. The word hit me like a ton of bricks. Suddenly, everything clicked into place. Chloe's constant criticisms, her accusations of me being childish and irresponsible, her public humiliation, the way she'd twisted the narrative to make herself the victim, it wasn't just difficult behavior. It was a deliberate pattern of manipulation and control. I don't know what to do, I whispered, feeling completely lost. First, Ben said, his voice softening, You need to stop blaming yourself. This isn't your fault. None of this is your fault. Hearing him say that, hearing someone finally validate my feelings, it was like a weight lifted off my chest. I started to cry again, these huge gut-wrenching sobs. Then, Ben continued, you need to start protecting yourself, you need to set boundaries, and you need to start thinking about what you want, what you need. What I want. What I need. I hadn't even considered those things in years. I'd been so focused on trying to please Chloe, on trying to keep the peace, that I'd completely lost sight of myself. I don't even know where to begin, I choked out. Start small, Ben advised. Start by setting some boundaries with Chloe. Tell her you won't tolerate her behavior anymore, and if she doesn't respect those boundaries, you need to walk away. Walk away. The thought terrified me, but at the same time, it felt liberating. For the first time in a long time, I felt a flicker of hope. Maybe, just maybe, I could get out of this mess. Maybe I could reclaim my life. Talking to Ben was a turning point. It was like someone had finally turned on the lights in a dark room. I finally saw the situation for what it was, and I knew, deep down, that I couldn't stay in this marriage any longer. I had to get out, for my own sanity, for my own survival. Stay tuned, Reddit, this is just the beginning. So Reddit, remember how I said things were a nuclear meltdown? Well, add a volcanic eruption and a meteor strike for good measure. I found the smoking gun, the final, irrefutable proof that Chloe isn't just difficult, she's downright malicious. I was clearing out some old emails, trying to declutter my digital life as much as my real one, and I stumbled across a notification from our joint credit card account. Normally, I let Chloe handle the finances, another way she exerted control, I realize now. But this notification was for a purchase I definitely didn't make. A $2,000 charge at a high-end spa. A spa, while we were supposed to be broke from my irresponsible Paris trip. My blood ran cold. I felt this icy dread creep up my spine. $2,000 at a spa. While she was berating me for spending money on our trip, a trip for her, I logged into the account, my hands shaking. And then I saw it. Page after page of charges. Designer clothes, expensive dinners, weekend getaways, all while she was playing the victim, telling everyone I was ruining us financially. The hypocrisy, but it gets worse. Much worse. Scrolled down to the very bottom of the statement and nearly choked. There, nestled among the manicures and massages, was a recurring charge to a flower delivery service. Flowers? For who? I never got flowers. Driven by a sickening premonition, I opened WhatsApp on my computer. Chloe had left it open, logged into her account. I know, invading her privacy and all that, but something told me I needed to see this. And I was right. There they were. Messages between Chloe and some guy named Jason, a coworker she'd been spending a lot of time with lately. Messages that made my stomach churn. Messages mocking my financial habits, mocking the Paris trip I'd poured my heart and soul into. Messages detailing her spending habits, the ones she'd been hiding from me. And yes, messages confirming the flowers. She was having an emotional affair. He's such a loser, Jason, one message read. He actually thought I'd be impressed with that stupid trip to Paris. Like we can afford that, lol. Another, he's so clueless about money, I have to hide my shopping bags so he doesn't freak out. He's such a child. Child, that word again. The word she used to diminish me, to control me. Reading those messages, seeing the sheer contempt in her words, it was like being punched in the gut. Over and over again, the air left my lungs. I felt dizzy, nauseous, I had to sit down. And then something shifted inside me. The hurt, the confusion, the self-doubt, it all evaporated, replaced by a white-hot rage. A rage so intense, so pure it was almost terrifying. This wasn't just about the money. It wasn't just about the trip. It was about the years of manipulation, the gaslighting, the constant erosion of my self-worth. It was about the way she'd twisted reality, turned my family against me, made me question my own sanity. In that moment, sitting there staring at those messages, something inside me snapped. I was done. Done. I wasn't a victim anymore. I wasn't going to let her control me any longer. I wasn't going to let her win. I printed out the credit card statements. I screenshotted the messages. I gathered every shred of evidence I could find. And I made a decision. I was going to confront her. I was going to expose her lies, and I was going to end this marriage once and for all. I felt a strange sense of calm wash over me, a steely resolve I hadn't felt before. This was it, the final straw, the breaking point. My time to take back my life. All right, Reddit, the time has come. I'm confronting Chloe tomorrow. I'm terrified, sure, but more than that, I'm angry. And I'm finally ready. After the WhatsApp discovery, I knew I couldn't just let this go. I needed a plan. I needed to be prepared. This isn't just about airing dirty laundry, this is about taking back my life. First, the evidence. I printed out every single page of those credit card statements, highlighting the spa trip, the designer clothes, the flowers, the whole 9 yards. I also printed the WhatsApp messages. All of them. I even created a separate folder with screenshots of her social media posts, the ones where she played the victim. I've got a physical and digital copy of everything. Redundancy is key. Next, strategy. I'm not going to let her manipulate or gaslight me. I'm going to a public place, a Starbucks near our apartment. Neutral ground. Lots of witnesses. This way, she can't scream, cry, or try to twist things to her advantage. And I'm not going in blind. I've written down key points I want to address, focusing on the facts. Dates, times, amounts. No room for her to deflect or deny. I'm sticking to the script. Support. I called Ben. He's been my rock through all of this. He's offered to be there, just a phone call away, in case I need him. Knowing he's got my back gives me the strength I need to face this head on. Having someone who believes me makes all the difference. Mental prep. This has been the hardest part. I've spent the last few days visualizing the conversation, preparing myself for her reactions. I know she'll deny, she'll deflect, she'll probably try to turn it back on me. I'm ready for it. I've practiced staying calm, staying focused on the facts. I'm not going to let her get to me. This is MY time. I know this is going to be brutal. I know it's going to hurt, but I also know it's the only way forward. I need to do this for myself. I need to reclaim my life, my self-respect, my sanity. Wish me luck, Reddit. I'll update you as soon as I can. This is it. Game time. Update. Holy shit, REDDIT. I did it. I actually did it. I confronted Chloe and it went better than I could have ever imagined. The Starbucks was buzzing with the usual morning rush. I sat at a small table near the back, my heart hammering against my ribs. The folder containing all my evidence felt heavy in my lap. It was like holding a weapon, a shield, and a lifeline all at once. Chloe arrived a few minutes later, looking surprised to see me. "Ethan, what's this about?" she asked, her voice laced with suspicion. "We need to talk," I said, keeping my voice level, my gaze steady. She sat down, a slight smirk playing on her lips. "Okay," she said, all fake innocence. "Talk." I took a deep breath, opened the folder, and slid the credit card statements across the table. "I think you'll recognize these." Her smirk faltered. Her eyes widened as she scanned the pages. The color drained from her face. Where did you get these?" she stammered. "That's not important," I said, my voice hardening. "What is important is that you explain these charges. The spa trip, the designer clothes, the flowers." I can explain," she began, but I cut her off. "Oh, I'm sure you can," I said, my voice dripping with sarcasm. "Just like you explained how we couldn't afford Paris while you were secretly spending thousands of dollars on yourself." I then slid the printed WhatsApp messages across the table. "And these," I said, my voice low and dangerous. "I think Jason will recognize these too." Her eyes darted to the messages, her face a mask of shock and disbelief. She opened her mouth to speak, but no words came out. "So," I continued, "care to explain why you're telling everyone I'm financially irresponsible while you're having an emotional affair and spending our money on spa treatments and flowers for your boyfriend?" The word boyfriend hung in the air between us, thick with disgust. She finally found her voice, but it was weak, shaky. "Ethan, it's not what it looks like." "Oh, really?" I said, raising an eyebrow. "Because it looks an awful lot like you've been lying to me, manipulating me, and gaslighting me for months, maybe even years." She started to cry, the crocodile tears I'd come to expect. "Ethan, please, you're twisting things. I didn't mean to hurt you." "Hurt me," I repeated, my voice rising. "You humiliated me. You turned my family against me. You made me question my own sanity." And then I said the words I'd been rehearsing in my head for days, the words that finally set me free. "I want a divorce." The tears stopped. The fake concern vanished. Her eyes narrowed, a flash of pure, unadulterated rage. "You can't do this to me," she hissed. "You need me." "No," I said, my voice calm and steady. Not anymore." I stood up, gathered my things, and turned to leave. "You'll regret this," she screamed after me, her voice laced with desperation. "You'll be all alone. No one will ever love you like I do." I stopped at the door, turned back to face her, and said, "I'd rather be alone than be with someone who treats me like this." And then I walked out. I walked out of that Starbucks, out of that marriage, out of that life, and it felt amazing. It felt like I was finally breathing again, like I was finally free. The relief was overwhelming. I felt lighter, stronger, like a massive weight had been lifted off my shoulders. It's over. It's finally over, and I won. Thanks for all the support, Reddit. I couldn't have done it without you guys. Now it's time to rebuild, time to focus on myself, time to find happiness again. I'll keep you updated. It's been 6 months since I walked out of that Starbucks, 6 months since I declared my freedom from Chloe and her toxic web of lies. The initial fallout was messy, to say the least. Chloe went full scorched earth, trying to paint me as the villain in our divorce proceedings. She even tried to claim I was emotionally abusive. The irony was almost laughable. Almost. Luckily, I had the evidence, the credit card statements, the WhatsApp messages, everything. It was a long, grueling process, but in the end, the truth prevailed. We got divorced, and I'm officially free. The divorce itself was a mixed bag. Financially, it stung. Chloe managed to walk away with more than I thought was fair, but honestly, I was just so relieved to be rid of her that I didn't fight as hard as I probably should have. I just wanted it to be over. Some battles aren't worth fighting, I guess. Live and learn. My family, well, that's been complicated. My sister still sides with Chloe, convinced I'm the crazy one. She's barely spoken to me since the divorce. My parents, on the other hand, have slowly started to come around. They've apologized for not believing me for siding with Chloe. It's a start, I guess, baby steps. Ben, of course, has been amazing. He's been my rock throughout this whole ordeal. I don't know what I would have done without him. He's the real MVP. As for me, I'm different. I'm not the same Ethan who walked into that Starbucks 6 months ago. I've moved into a smaller apartment, which is actually kind of liberating. Less space, less clutter, less baggage. I've reconnected with old friends, picked up some new hobbies, rock climbing, anyone, and I've even started dating again. It's scary, putting myself out there again after what I went through with Chloe, but I'm doing it. And honestly, it feels good. This whole experience has been a huge wake-up call. I've learned the importance of self-respect, of setting boundaries, of prioritizing my own well-being. I've learned that it's okay to ask for help, that it's okay to be vulnerable, that it's okay to walk away from a toxic situation, no matter how scary it seems. I'm not a victim. I'm a survivor. So yeah, my life is still a bit of a dumpster fire, but it's my dumpster fire. And I'm slowly but surely putting out the flames. One day at a time. What about you, Reddit? Any similar experiences? Any advice for someone navigating the aftermath of a toxic relationship? I'd love to hear your thoughts.